Hey, I'm curious about Mr. Riley Soren and just your expectations that you had of him coming into the season, and how has he worked himself into this rotation of yours?
Well, he obviously we see him every day in practice. He hasn't had an opportunity to get into the game, and he just kept getting better and better. And you're sitting there, and the one guy that Isaiah Stewart had problems scoring against was Riley, and you kept looking past, and we're trying different lineups, and we had a first scrimmage, and I'll share with you. I think he had like 20 points. 28. He had 28. He rebounded the ball. He was getting up and down the court great. And so, in the Baylor game, we were in a good situation, and I'm like, okay, Riley in the game, and he brought out a burst of energy and flying around, got to the corner, came back, guy tried to dunk on him, he lifted, there was something about his energy and his presence and what we were looking for as a team that he brought that I was just like, gosh, how can you not play this guy? And then we challenged the group when we were down at Utah, and he just, some guys, when you challenge, they just go out there and they produce. And so, he earned everything that he's got. He's just going to keep getting better and better. He's just scratching the surface of the type of player he can become.
It just seems so obvious that a big guy is really good for the middle of your zone. But beyond that, what types of things does he bring to the court?
Well, I think he's got really good hands. In the last game against Oregon, he got the ball taken away from him a couple times, but he catches a lot. When he puts pressure on the rim, you can throw it up to him, and he's finishing. Really good passer, and then he makes foul shots. And so he's a guy that's exceptionally skilled. A big thing is he hasn't played in a lot of minutes, and so now being in a rotation, making sure he has energy, taking care of his body, those types of things become critical. But really, really proud of his growth and who he is and how he's going to help this team win.
And just this last thing, you talked about his offense. I mean, obviously, we really haven't seen a ton of that yet. Is it more than just the putbacks, or can you go to him for a bucket?
Well, I think if he gets deep post position, I think you can go to him. If he's away from the basket, he's a really good passer. But he's a guy that, when offensively on a ball screen, you put pressure on the rim. In practice, you've seen him catch and finish. I thought the greatest play that I saw him was going to the offensive glass at Utah, keeping the ball up, pivoting, and dunking on the team.
Yeah.
And that was just, now if you can get that all the time, you would say, wow. But he's still young, is still getting minutes. He's just going to keep getting better and better.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Lauren, go ahead, Lauren.
Hey, Hop, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I wanted to ask about Riley as well. I mean, you mentioned his passing ability. What can you say just about how he sees the game and maybe just his intelligence on the floor?
He's just, he was obviously coached by a great high school coach, great high school program. He had a great AAU coach, and he's fundamental. But the greatest thing about Riley is all about how are we going to win as a team? What do I got to do? Working with the coaches, what's my job? Let me do my job the best I can do. Anything I can do extra. Ultimate team guy. And, he's, obviously he's got to improve on some areas, but the energy that he brings, the leadership that he brings, his work ethic that he brings, he's positive every day. And all he cares about is winning and losing. And invaluable to our team. And his size, obviously, in the zone makes us different. The Utah game we were playing, and so many of the previous 3 games before, I felt so small. Like you looked at your team, and when he was in the game, I was like, geez, we're big. Mount Riley takes up a lot of that paint, and it's just really helped our team.
You've mentioned his progress. Just what's the biggest difference you see in him this year, and what does a next step look like for him?
He's always had confidence, and he's always had a great IQ. It's been his conditioning. It's been his movement. It's been his work ethic. Our coaches have done a great job getting him prepared. The thing that stands out most to me is that he's just a confident kid that brings it. He doesn't complain, doesn't do anything. He just works, and is a great positive influence. And when you have guys like that and they finally have success and they've been sitting on that bench a long time, just so proud of them, right? And everybody is just like, wow, those are the guys that you root for. And like I said before, I think the most important thing is he's just scratching the surface of what he can become. But the biggest thing is that playing for longer minutes. I mean, he's a big guy. His strength and conditioning, which, he's a bigger guy, and, he's always had the skills. So all that stuff is really translated, and then you've seen his growth.
All right, thank you.
Chris Fetters, go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Hop, a couple more on Riley. I don't remember if he was committed to Boise State at the time, but can you recall the first time you got a chance to see him in person and your initial reaction?
Yeah, I just, same thing. I just, saw not only how good he is now, but what his potential could be. And, potential is one thing, everybody has potential, but seeing his size and then watching his IQ, you're like, God, if he just gets bigger and stronger and keeps working and gets better movement and gets a little bit more athletic and he can make multiple defensive plays, this guy's going to be a problem because he's so intelligent. And, he's just was blown away by what he could be. And then you go back to, okay, what reaches potential? Mindset, work ethic, character, all those things that he has. And that's why I know he's just going to keep getting better and better.
Was it a hard sell for him, knowing that he wasn't going to be able to necessarily come in on scholarship right away?
You know what? It was, but the one thing at the time, Riley wanted aerospace engineering, and we've got one of the best schools in the country in that. And so he's not just a basketball player. This kid is a great student. He's what you want representing your university. Takes all area of his life in a professional manner, and then just watching his work and not getting off the bench, and then everything's been earned, and really, really proud of him.
I don't want to jump too far ahead, but last question would be, because everything's kind of on pause eligibility wise, what would you anticipate that he is a guy that you would love to see stick around and those kinds of things?
Oh, are you kidding me? Yes. These guys, are you kidding me? He's just going to keep getting better and better, and all these guys are basically getting a free year. And what a great year to develop and learn and grow in such a tough year. And he's going to be a great player in this program for sure.
Thanks, Hop.
All right, Dan Rayleigh.
I had a question about Riley as well. He's got this magnificent height. How heavy do you think he can be? Do you have your trainers? Do they have a program for him to reach a certain?
Yeah,
weight?
Todd Tukin, our strength and conditioning coach, does a really good job with our guys, and our coaches do a really good job. Having them have basketball movement. So it's a combination of in the weight room and then nutrition's a big part. I don't know necessarily think like how physical, big, strong. I think his movement, his conditioning, and just being strong enough, right? You don't want him to get too heavy where he's lumbering. The thing that's making Riley really good right now is he's gained his strength. He's got really good conditioning better, and he's moving better. And when you're 7'4" and you can move and run and keep your hands up and make movements like that, it's pretty cool. And it's a special trait to have for sure.
Bill Swartz, go ahead, Bill.
Coach, good afternoon. Montana's got a Mercer Island coach, and they have the grandson of downtown Freddie Brown. What else do you know about the Grizzlies coming to town?
Well, Coach DeCure is one of the best coaches that I've been around in the country. I remember when he was at Cal with Coach Montgomery. We had played him when I was at Syracuse. He's done an incredible job to keep that tradition going at Montana. They've had a great tradition of success and coaches, and he's in that line. And they play tough, like his personality. I'd never seen him play, but hearing the coaches talk about how good of and tough of a player he was and how disciplined he was, you can see that in his teams. They've given us a hard game every year. They're tough, they're physical. They're organized and they play exceptionally hard, and it'll be a great test and challenge for us.
All right, Moaz, go ahead, Moaz.
Yep. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Hey, not too bad. Hey, quick question about how can you assess your rebounding, interior rebounding, and then kind of the exterior, and yeah, just the assessment overall.
Well, I think, the first 3 games, first 2 games, we were crushed on the glass and had to be addressed. Some certain guys got opportunities and were challenged, and we didn't win, but we fixed a major problem, the rebounding. Came back to CLU. I thought our guards did a really good job rebounding. Oregon is exceptionally athletic, and we were down. We didn't, they hurt us. Nate got in foul trouble, and we had to play a smaller lineup for long periods of time. But I think for us to be a good rebounding team and where we've seen growth is it's got to be 5 guys in the paint at all times. Coming back as a collective. Some of our best rebounds in CLU was Nate Pryor and Quad A getting it, and then we're, making them pay, getting out in transition. So 5 guys, collective rebounding is going to be our path forward for sure.
And then one more, just in terms of ball movement, what's your assessment in terms of it being moved around at the perimeter and then going in there?
Well, I don't think since I've been here, we've scored over 71 points against Oregon. That was one of the first. In the last couple of games, we've shot better from the 3-point line, and I think it's a result of our movement. It's our result of us getting in the paint and kicking out a little bit more. I think that's been a big part of seeing it. There's a little bit better flow, which is a lot of progress. And now we've just got to eliminate our turnovers. And sometimes, you turn it over because you're trying to do too much. Sometimes you turn it over because, it's predetermined in your mind. It goes back to doing too much. If we can do that, and then and then improve our shot selection, which I think we've done our last 2 games, we're going to start seeing greater progress as we move forward.
Thank you.
Tim Reynolds, go ahead, Tim.
Coach Hop, hey, just have a couple questions for you real quick. First of all, if you take a look at the film against Oregon, even though a loss, it was night and day difference between Cal State Fullerton. Was there something that happened in between team meeting, team film, or just was there 1 or 2 things that maybe clicked?
Gosh, you mean the last 2 games compared to the first 3?
Yeah.
You know what? At the end of the day, usually you find those things out in exhibition games. The last 3 years we played at Boise State exhibition. The next year we played at Nevada when they were 7th in the country, and last year we played at TCU just to kind of get a gauge, and then we played a really high quality Division II team at home to see what we have. And unfortunately, we didn't have those games. The Baylor game ended up being learning from what we have. So what did we learn? We learned that we have to rebound. And so you started seeing our size. You started looking at combinations of players playing together. That changed. We did have a team meeting, but it was really basic stuff, play for something greater than your team, trust your teammates, collective rebound. It's going to be 5 guys, and no one person's going to do this alone. And same messaging, just different type of year, right? You usually learn that probably a week or a week and a half before you play your first game. And that was something that we kind of were learning on the fly with the new guys, new team. So I feel like we feel like we're in a good place. We still we obviously have a ways to grow, but going in the right direction for sure.
One more, just football signing day tomorrow. And we never got a chance to really talk to you about your signing day. You signed a guy out of Olympia, Jackson Grant. What can you tell me to get me fired up about Jackson Grant? And are you done?
Well, when you talk about talented guys, you're talking about a top 50 talent. We think he's even better than that. He can shoot it. He can post up. He's the modern day, 4, stretch 4, 4-5, rebounds the ball, runs the court exceptionally well. And he is Husky through and through. And when you get a kid locally like that is so talented and just he wants to be a part of the program, he wants to win big, and we're just so excited. His versatility with his size is what makes him so special. And like the great ones that I've ever been around, they have a mindset that's just a little bit different. He's got an elite mindset. What do I got to do, coach? Unfortunately with COVID, when he signed, he wanted to come up here and be a part, and learn and watch and grow and those types of things. And it stalled that, but we're excited to be able to get him here and coach him and, develop him, and sky's the limit with him.
Are you done, or are you done? Possibility you bring in somebody else?
There's a possibility for sure. And, we're still weighing the options, looking around, but there's definitely possibilities for that for sure.